A man holding a cigarette in his hand looks at his phone and finds the webtoon he is watching very boring. His friend beside him, wearing a school uniform, adds that it's always the same generic story. A loser boy who gets bullied ultimately becomes stronger and beats his bullies. The boy smokes his cigarette and scoffs. Another boy comments that webtoons these days are always about school violence, which he finds unrealistic since no one is getting bullied these days. The man adds that it's because the authors writing these webtoons are very old and don't know the reality of the present-day school system. He continues, saying that school bullies were only around when the authors were students, and for some reason, they mistakenly believe that bullies are still in schools these days. The boy with the bowl cut laughs and agrees, asking the boy to keep watch if he is properly doing so and aware of his surroundings. They don't want to get caught smoking. Sehun Kim, the boy keeping watch, overhears the conversation. He reassures the trio and thinks what they are doing to him is also bullying. The man puts Sehun in a headlock while yelling, "End school violence," and Sehun is startled and asks him to stop as he can't breathe. The trio head their way, conversing about crypto and digital money, while Sehun is left on the ground, thinking about school violence. He thinks he could yell that slogan as much as he likes, but no one will actually do anything unless it benefits them. As he starts tearing up, he wonders where it all started to go wrong and why he has to live like this. He is utterly confused as to why he is the one who has to be bullied. These days, webtoons and web novels are always about some character that gets a quest window, starts receiving rewards, and grows stronger like characters in video games. Sehun wishes he could do that too as he lies hopelessly on the ground. He starts mumbling, "Quest window," again and again and starts yelling at some point. He slumps and snaps back to reality, knowing that will never happen and that he isn't living in a web novel. There's no way something like that could appear out of nowhere and change the trajectory of his life. Suddenly, a blue light beams at Sehun's eyes. He focuses his eyes on this light and realizes that there is a window in front of him. Sehun's eyes are wide open seeing this window in front of him. He can't believe what he is looking at. From that moment, Sehun's life takes a dramatic turn. There are two different types of people in this world, the popular kids and the loners. If one is outgoing, extroverted, and open to talking to new people, you are inevitably going to turn into a popular kid. But if you are introverted, shy, and not open to speaking to everyone, you are going to be a loner that people steer away from. Sehun personally thinks that the terms popular kid and loner are replacements for the terms bullies and losers, a change he is thankful for. He'd rather be called a loner than a loser. But something interesting happens to Sehun, a loner. When the window comes up in front of Sehun, he isn't sure if he is seeing things correctly. He keeps turning the window on and off during class, and after doing that 300 times, Sehun realizes that no matter how unrealistic the whole thing is, it is real. Sehun stares at the begin quest written on the window in front of him and wonders what it means. He decides to press yes and realizes that he just poked a girl passing by. The girl, Karen Beek, brushes her hair behind her ear and tells Sehun that what he is doing is harassment. Sehun tries to explain that there is a quest window in front of him, but Karen wastes no time slapping him across the face and calling him a creepy, scrawny nerd. She asks Sehun to go to the school snack shop and get her a sandwich. When Sehun asks why she doesn't get one for herself, she responds that her pretty legs got her 200k followers on social media, and if she gets injured while making her way to the snack shop, Sehun will be responsible for her injury. Sehun realizes that there is no point in arguing with Karen, so he gets up to head to the snack shop. When he asks for the money, she tells him to buy it with his own money. Sehun realizes that this is the kind of person he is. He is too scared to speak up for himself against wrongfulness like this. Suddenly, the bully from before arrives and swings his hand across the hallway, landing a blow on Sehun. Sehun decides that he will speak up for himself, but as soon as he looks into the eyes of his bully, he apologizes instead. Back at home, Sehun vents to his mom and tells her that he wants to drop out. He notices that his mom is the only one he can talk back to. Sehun tries to reason with his mom, telling her that he's not learning anything at school and he'd rather drop out and be a YouTuber. His mom listens to him while making food and tells him not to come up with stupid ideas. Sehun continues and persists, but his mother warns him that she has a knife in her hand. His sister, Dahyun, adds fuel to the fire and makes fun of Sehun's idea of becoming a YouTuber. Sehun slams his door shut and blames it on the wind to avoid a beating from his mom. In his room, Sehun opens the quest window and presses the button yes properly this time. The quest is being initialized, and once the quest is completed, Sehun will receive a card. The quest is to apologize to his mom. Sehun is shocked and springs up from his bed. He wonders if he can sell the cards that will be given to him as a reward, so he hurries to apologize to his mom. The quest is complete, and Sehun receives a golden card as a reward. He tries to claim his card, and it rewards Sehun with a height increase of 1.2 inches. Sehun gladly accepts and rushes to show his mom his height increase. Overjoyed with his increase in height from a midget to a slightly taller one, he is taken aback by his mother, who apologizes to him. He realizes that this is the first time he has ever apologized to his mom, while he keeps apologizing to everyone in school. The next day at school, Sehyun tries to contain his excitement about being an inch taller, and everyone takes notice of the fact that Sehyun is slightly taller. Sehyun wonders what his next quest may be, and he gets a pop-up. His next quest is to kiss Karen. Sehyun bumps into Karen, and she contemplates beating him up. Meanwhile, Sehyun wonders why his quest is so odd, why he has to kiss his bully, Karen Beek. Sehyun decides to abandon this quest, but he gets a warning that once a quest is abandoned, all the rewards are forfeited, and the quest windows will never show again. Sehyun yells that this isn't fair, while the other students tell him to stop talking to himself and block the hallway. Sehyun doesn't want to shrink back to an inch shorter if he abandons this quest. Sehyun's deadline is before school ends, and he is determined to finish this task. Sehyun is wondering how to do this when suddenly someone calls him from behind, asking if he wants a kiss. Looking back in excitement, Sehyun is shocked to see his friend, Kyuja, all beaten up by bullies. Kyuja asks Sehyun why he is mumbling about kissing, and Sehyun tells him that he is in a situation where he has to be kissed by some girl. Kyuja says that maybe if Sehyun asks nicely, the girl he is talking about will let him kiss her. Sehyun knows that it won't work, especially for a guy like him who is not particularly good looking or anything of that sort. Sehyun decides to just buy the kiss for money, but soon realizes that won't work. Sehyun devises a plan to meet Karen during gym class because they will be alone at that time. Later, as Karen wakes up from her nap, she calls Sehyun a creep for watching her sleep, and he tries to tell her that he wasn't watching. Karen says she was kidding and calls Sehyun a moron. Karen asks Sehyun to buy her some milk, but he is one step ahead and has already bought her some and put it on her desk. Karen is appalled and calls him a good minion. Suddenly, Sehyun gets up from his desk and drinks Karen's milk. He asks her if she's ever kissed anyone before, and she wittily responds that if Sehyun continues being weird like this, the only kiss he'll be getting is from the floor of a jail cell. Sehyun realizes that he has failed the quest and apologizes to Karen, telling her he was joking and was just curious. At the door frame stand the bullies, who are recording the interaction between the duo. The bullies start embarrassing Sehyun, and Karen wonders if he gets off on embarrassing himself. Sehyun yells at his bully to delete the video, but gets punched in the face instead. After humiliating him a bit more, Karen steps in and tells the bullies to stop, and they leave. She also tells Sehyun to head home early if he doesn't want to get more beaten up by his bullies. At home, Sehyun cries out of embarrassment and is sad that he will shrink back to his normal height, but he is exhilarated to see that his quest is complete. The milk that he drank earlier is being drunk by Karen, who uses the same straw he used, so an indirect kiss. Sehyun is very happy to receive his gold and silver cards as rewards. Sehyun is shocked by his rewards. He will have his vision restored. Sehyun bursts out in laughter and finds these quests life-changing and amazing. After a bit of celebration, he opens his other card. Sehyun heads outside to eat breakfast and meets his sister, who is acting very bratty. He asks where their mother is, and Dahyun responds that she has to head out for work. Dahyun continues that she doesn't want to be seen with her brother at school as he is embarrassing to be around. She tells him to keep a distance as she doesn't want to be seen with him. At school, Sehyun gets beat up by his bullies yet again. They think the reason he came to school again is that he thinks of Changdong, the bully, as nothing. Changdong can't let this go, so he continues to beat Sehyun up. The other students look down and ignore what's happening. The bell rings, so they decide to leave. Changdong orders Sehyun to come to the back of the school at lunchtime and tells him not to eat before coming because the beating is going to be severe. Kyuja apologizes to Sehyun, but Sehyun tells him not to be and advises him not to get involved, as he'll just get beat up as well. He tells Kyuja not to forget their rule, not to get involved when the other person is getting beat up. Sehyun says that he wants to sleep and ducks his head between his arms as tears drop down his face onto his pants. He wonders why his life is like this. During lunch break, Changdong asks Sehyun to scream at him like he did yesterday while asking him to delete the video. Sehyun apologizes and tries to reason, telling Changdong that he didn't know what he was thinking and shouldn't have done it. Changdong finds it odd that he's the one hitting Sehyun, yet Sehyun is the one apologizing. As Sehyun gets slapped again on his face, he is told to fetch a discarded cigarette on the ground. As he crawls over to get it, Dahyun walks in, asking her brother what's happening. Changdong tells Dahyun that what she saw was all a misunderstanding and that while he was smoking, his cigarette fell and Sehyun innocently went to grab it for him, nothing more, nothing less. Sehyun is taken along with Changdong, who continues to ask about Dahyun. Sehyun explains that his sister doesn't want to be seen with him at school. Changdong asks Sehyun to introduce him to his sister. After saying some derogatory things about his sister, a fire lights up inside Sehyun. Before he can do anything, Hyuja steps in and tells Changdong that he has taken it too far. Hyuja gets beat up while Sehyun thinks about what Changdong just said. Sehyun calls Changdong a bitch, which provokes him. As he steps towards Sehyun to beat him up, Sehyun lands a blow on his face. The silver card that Sehyun had received was a skill, a boxing jab. Sehyun throws a jab at Changdong after hearing what he said about his younger sister. A new quest arises, to fight and defeat Changdong. Sehyun gets into position to fight Changdong, who finds it interesting that Sehyun fought back. Sehyun gets intimidated and flinches. But before Changdong finishes his sentence, Sehyun lands another jab on his face. Changdong is taken aback, and after he regains his composure, he lunges and tries to land a blow on Sehyun. But without fail, Sehyun lands another jab and goes crazy, delivering blow after blow. Hyuja, who is seeing this happen, is shocked beyond comprehension. Something unbelievable is unfolding in front of his very eyes. Sehyun has finally knocked Changdong out and finished the quest. His jab skill level also increases. The duo runs away, and Hyuja says that this is just the beginning since their class must be in an uproar, or the entire school must be. The loner Sehyun has defeated the bully Changdong. Sehyun wonders if he will be able to continue attending school after this and if they are going to beat him up during every break. Hyuja asks Sehyun when he learned boxing, and Sehyun stirs up a lie that he watched YouTube videos and practiced by himself. Sehyun remembers that he saw a notification that he'd never seen before. The jab skill level has increased, and he's currently at 97 out of 100. Sehyun wonders what will happen to him after he hits 100. He thinks out loud that he must get rewards or something out of it. Hyuja asks Sehyun if he's lonely and wants a kiss, but Sehyun sternly refuses. Our protagonist views his cards and is shocked. Suddenly, Karen walks up to the duo and tells them to head home early as they might get in trouble. Later, the duo gets caught. The bullies ask Sehyun if he's actually the one who beat up Changdong, as he looks like a scrawny weakling. Hyuja gets beat up, and Sehyun wonders what to do. He wonders if he should let the bullies hit him now or wait, since if he keeps stalling them, that guy might show up. A beast who used his boxing skills to get all the seniors to fall in line as soon as he transferred to the school. The top dog of West Gangbuk High, Hanjin-ju, who's said to have never lost a fight, is making his way to Sehyun. Hanjin arrives and asks Sehyun why he hit Changdong, and Sehyun blurts out that Changdong insulted his family. That's it, asks Hanjin condescendingly. He asks Sehyun to hit him and offers to let this situation go if Sehyun is able to land a blow on him. Sehyun wonders if he can use the cards he has right now. One of them is a stamina restoring bean and the other is to produce a loud noise which can help in singing. The high note card doesn't seem quite fit for the situation Sehyun is in right now, but the healing bean might come in handy. Sehyun thinks realistically and realizes that the healing bean won't benefit him in winning against the top dog, Hanjin. Hanjin is still persistent on Sehyun landing a blow on him, and Sehyun wonders what to do since whether he hits him or not, Hanjin will still beat him up. Sehyun decides to throw a jab, and Hanjin dodges. He continues with multiple jabs, but Hanjin keeps dodging and lands a blow on Sehyun. Sehyun wakes up on the floor to Hanjin hovering above him. Sehyun gets ready to get beat up, and when asked what he's doing, he confesses that he's getting ready to be hit. Hanjin simply asks Sehyun to come along for a smoke with him. Sehyun finds himself in a weird situation. He is surrounded by Hanjin's underlings and stands silently between them while they talk about women and their lives. Sehyun wonders why Hanjin brought him here, and when offered a cigarette, he refuses. He also realizes that the reason he has been brought here is to get beat up since Hanjin won't be able to beat him up that much in the classroom. As he puts the cigarette into his mouth, Hanjin asks Sehyun his name, and after introducing himself, Sehyun gets apologized to by the top dog himself. Hanjin confesses that Sehyun was better than he thought and he ends up fighting back on reflex. He continues that he's been boxing for a while and thinks that Sehyun has potential. At home, Sehyun wonders what the deal is with Hanjin. He heard rumors about him before and was sure that he was a really scary and bad guy, but he apologized to Sehyun and even complimented him. Sehyun springs up from his bed and wonders if he will get beat up tomorrow by Hanjin. He never in his wildest dreams thought he'd get involved with Hanjin because of his quests. Sehyun has received 3 different types of cards since his journey: the bronze, silver, and gold cards. All the cards he has received have been related to fighting. The next day, Hyuja and Sehyun get ready to face the consequences of getting involved with Hanjin. Changdong tells Sehyun that Hanjin will be waiting for him after school and wants to see him there. Sehyun meets Hanjin at a karaoke place where his other friends are also present, including Karen. The friends ask Sehyun to sing, and he complies, using his card which allows him to hit high notes. The students are shocked listening to him. He is a proper and great singer with an amazing voice. Sehyun is starting to get happy around his new friends, and he thinks that Hanjin was a good guy all along. The next day, Sehun, with a big smile on his face, heads to school. This is the first time he's been excited to go to school. Sehun thought he was doomed for sure and would get beaten up by Hajun, but he ended up being friends with him. Sehun is happy that his life at school is going to be easy for him now, since Hajun said if anything bad were to happen to him, Hajun would deal with it. Everything's been going great ever since Sehun started doing these quests. He's relieved that he doesn't have to worry about bullies anymore, and he also thinks of asking Hajun to protect Kyuja as well. As he tries to enter the school premises, Sehun is met by Hajun, who asks if he's going in. Hajun proposes they head in together, and as they are conversing, a new quest pops up. This is a main quest, which means the trial quests are over, and the reward for this quest is a platinum card which Sehun has not received before. The quest is to fight and defeat Hajun. Sehun knew that some of the rumors about Hajun were exaggerated, but he's still the top dog. He's sure he can't win against him since he only has the time of 3 days to finish this quest. Hajun asks Sehun if he has something to say, and meanwhile, Sehun is terrified. He wonders why things were going so well. The tables have turned, and now he has to defeat Hajun. If Sehun doesn't defeat Hajun in 3 days, he fails the quest. Sehun concludes that there is no way he can beat Hajun at school. He continues to think about what to do. He became friends with Hajun thanks to the quests, and just as it finally seemed like he would be able to enjoy a normal school life, he's being asked to fight him. Sehun sits right in front of Hajun as they eat. Kyuja wonders why he is here, and Sehun explains that Hajun seems to have taken a liking to him. Sehun thinks that there may be rumors surrounding Hajun, but in the end, he is a good guy. He wonders why he has to fight someone who is nice to him. Sehun decides that he will just give up on his quest. He's got Hajun in his corner, and with him, Sehun's life at school will be a breeze. There's no reason for him to pick a fight with Hajun, and Sehun's ultimate goal is to have a normal school life. If he picks a fight with Hajun and loses, not only will he lose the quest but Hajun too, so Sehun decides to just give up on the quest altogether. Sehun heads to meet with Hajun and is taken aback when he sees him beating up Changdong. Karen tells Sehun that Hajun isn't a good guy and that Changdong is being beat up because he didn't extort enough money out of the students. The money the bullies collect from everyone at school ends up in Hajun's pockets. Sehun asks Hajun why he's being so nice to him, and Hajun replies that it's obvious. He wants to keep Sehun close because he's good at boxing, something Hajun is passionate about. Hajun confesses that he only likes Sehun because he thinks he's a good fighter. If Sehun gives up on his quest, he will lose the ability to throw jabs, and one day Hajun will discover that Sehun is not a good fighter and start treating him like dirt. Sehun realizes that no matter what, he has to fight Hajun. Later, near his house, Sehun heads to the park and practices his jabs. He can't go back to how things were before and doesn't want to give up. But the only obstacle is that he doesn't know how to beat Hajun since the jab didn't work on him the last time they had an altercation. Sehun looks at his cards and decides to use them during his fight with Hajun. As he rests on a bench, a gangster-looking boy and his underlings come to Sehun and ask for money for their bus fare. When they are told Sehun doesn't have any money, they start swearing and confess that they have come to rob him. Sehun throws a jab at the boy and immediately apologizes, telling the boy that he reacted without thinking. Sehun realizes that his skill level has gone up, and he's now at level E from level F. Sehun feels the difference in his jabs from before as they're faster and stronger now. At this rate, he may be able to defeat Hajun. Sehun receives a side quest and decides to beat up the bullies. He crisscrosses his tank top around his neck and fastens his shirt. He gets ready to fight. Sehun hypes himself up to fight against his opponents. He throws a jab at his opponent, and the bully, Sangcheol, goes crashing down. Sangcheol's expression goes blank, and he's unconscious. The lackeys try to slap him awake and squeeze his legs, but Sangcheol doesn't wake up. They cry and yell, thinking Sangcheol might have met his demise. Even Sehun starts to worry, thinking he killed the guy, but he is mistaken as Sangcheol is just unconscious from getting punched in the chin. Sehun realizes that if someone receives a blow to the chin, they pass out. The teary underlings attack Sehun, and he locks in, knowing he has to clutch this fight no matter what. Sehun decides to run for now, not wanting to be surrounded, so he heads to a narrow place with a dead end where the underlings can't attack him all at once. He eats his healing bean and regains his stamina. Sehun is getting used to throwing jabs now and has complete control over them. The lackeys start getting nervous after seeing the extent of Sehun's jabs. In the end, they all get beaten up, and Sehun finishes his quest of beating 5 of the thugs. Sehun gets rewarded with a golden card and is happy to receive it. He immediately claims it and finds something odd. Sehun is still wondering how he will defeat Hajun since it's already been 3 days. He only has 8 hours left and needs to beat Hajun within that time period. The cards he has are the E-rank jab, the healing bean, and the hit those high notes card, and with the new gold card he received, he has 4 in total. Sehun wonders if he can win with these cards against Hajun, who is an undefeated fighter. Sehun looks at his friend Kyuja and thanks him, as Kyuja has always been by his side and even got beaten up for his sake. Hajun arrives and asks Sehun if he wants to come along to the snack shop with him. Sehun wonders if he should just ask Hajun to fight but is too scared to do so. For now, he decides to go to the snack shop with him. While Hajun waits for Sehun to get ready, someone bumps into him, causing their ice cream to spill onto his shirt. The student apologizes, but Hajun responds with a blow to his face. Sehun decides that this is the right moment and provokes Hajun by swearing at him. Instead of getting angry, Hajun just apologizes to Sehun and admires him for sticking up for his classmate. They head to the snack shop together. Rumors start going around the school again that Hajun almost got into a fight with Sehun, the loner. Sehun didn't think that Hajun would apologize. He thinks about what he will do now since it seems that Hajun really thinks of him as a friend. There isn't much time left to complete the quest either. At this rate, it might be over before Sehun can even begin. Hyuja asks Sehun if there is something bothering him, and he responds that it's because of Hajun. Hyuja asks Sehun if he's being bullied by Hajun, and Sehun's response is vague. Karen comes up to Sehun and confesses that she heard about the rumors going around the school. She asks Sehun why he picked a fight with Hajun and if he was actually planning to fight him. Sehun responds that he doesn't know and asks Karen why she hangs out with people like Hajun since she doesn't seem to be a bully herself and is quite kind since she has helped out Sehun a few times before. Karen says that hanging out with bullies like Hajun makes her life easier. She also adds that Sehun has crossed the line and tells him not to get overly friendly just because she talked to him a few times. Sehun sulks, thinking they were friends. Suddenly, he hears some noise. There's a big problem. Hyuja has gotten into a fight with Hajun. Hyuja heads over to Sehun, and his underlings start by degrading him before Hajun himself meets Kyuja. Hajun asks Kyuja the reason for his visit, and Kyuja replies that he wants Hajun to stop harassing his friend. Making him tag along just because he's strong is basically the same thing as harassment. Hajun slaps Kyuja across his face and tells him that Sehun and he are friends. Hajun continues to beat Kyuja up and tells him that he doesn't like people like him. He humiliates Kyuja by telling him to stop hanging out with Sehun as it will make him stoop to an inferior level. Kyuja gets back on his feet and responds with dignity. He says that the mentality Hajun is going through with Sehun probably doesn't consider Hajun a friend. Suddenly, Sehun arrives and delivers a blow to Hajun's face. Sehun admits that if it weren't for Kyuja, he wouldn't have been able to survive a single day at this school. The whole school comes to spectate the fight, and they think that Sehun is going to get obliterated by Hajun. Sehun tells Hajun that the only friend he has is Kyuja and that he will defeat Hajun within 5 seconds. Sehun is confident that he can beat up Hajun within 5 seconds. The students wonder if they heard that right. They know for a fact that Sehun may be good at fighting, but still, he is no match for Hajun. Sehun processes what to do next and thinks of his jabs in the past. Hajun reminds Sehun that it has already been 5 seconds. The students are excited to see how this match ends as the duo fight. They didn't realize Sehun was this good at boxing. Hajun's underlings are discouraged as they think that Sehun might actually win this fight. Changdong finds it strange that Sehun only knows how to throw jabs. Hajun looks down on Sehun, telling him that jabbing is the only thing he can do while Sehun keeps repeating that he only needs 5 seconds. Hajun finds this ridiculous and slaps Sehun across the face, asking him if he was really planning on defeating him with jabs. Rewind to the past when Sehun thinks of a plan. He did think about beating up Hajun with a jab since they got stronger, but there's no way it's good enough to be a finishing move against Hajun. He decides to use the odd card while he's fighting against Hajun, a card that will allow him to use max capacity for 5 seconds. Sehun thinks he has to use some sort of jujitsu move or tackle. He has to make Hajun believe in a false sense of security in order for Sehun to use his card. Back to the present, the fight continues. Hajun keeps beating Sehun up and asks him where he's going. Sehun is adamant on not stopping until Hajun gets sick of him. Hajun asks Sehun again what he's doing. Sehun grabs onto Hajun and Hajun starts swearing, which triggers a response from his underlings, prompting them to head toward Hajun and stop him from doing anything. Sehun eats the healing bean and grabs onto Hajun. Hajun tries to resist, but Sehun won't budge since he has used his max capacity card. The max capacity card is an attack card with a different attack style than a jab. Sehun's current weight is 344 pounds. He also has the strength of someone who weighs 344 pounds. Sehun throws Hajun onto the ground with all the force of a 344-pound man. And Sehun's punch too has the might of all 344 pounds behind it. Sehun obliterates Hajun, delivering one blow after another, leaving the spectators in shock. Hajun admits defeat as he lays on the ground, unable to move, alongside Sehun himself. The next day, Hajun is nowhere to be seen. The students talk about the embarrassment Hajin must feel after being beaten up in front of the entire school. They are happy that he isn't here. There's no one to bully them or extort money from them. But the loss of Hajin came as a surprise to most. How could a loner like Sehyun win against the top dog? The school's top dog passes by in the hallway, and everyone is alert. It's Sehyun who is awkward and stiff while trying to walk like a Sigma male. Sehyun bites his lip while the students talk about him as he passes through. Sehyun looks at his platinum card, which he got rewarded after beating Hajin. He is hopeful that the reward will be immense and he claims the card. The card says Pikachu on it, and Sehyun has no idea how to use it or what it means. Kyuja asks Sehyun if he's ready to head out into the hallway again, and the duo brace themselves. Sehyun feels dizzy and nervous because of all the attention he is receiving. He wonders how far the word has spread. Some students admit that he looks like a nice guy from the front, and apparently he fools his opponents into a false sense of security with that innocent face and attacks like a wolf from behind. The students also spread rumors that Hajin is injured in a hospital, but in fact, he is completely alright and is just skipping school. Sehyun overhears some other rumors as well, that he beat up Hajin's dad, is a psychopath, and is a total maniac. Meanwhile, Kyuja has other rumors surrounding him, that he's a 48-year-old man who's the son of some Yakuza member. Sehyun feels bad that there are rumors surrounding his friend Kyuja as well. Sehyun bumps into a guy who bows down in respect and introduces himself as the first-year top dog, Hyundong Lee. Sehyun asks the first year why he's bowing down, and he responds that Sehyun is Gangbuk's new top dog, and it's only right for him to greet his senior properly. Sehyun tells Hyun that he doesn't want to be a top dog and just wants to attend school in peace. After the top dog leaves, Sehyun asks Kyuja what's up with this guy, and he responds that Hyun wasn't too fond of Hajin, and now he's excited that there's a new top dog. Kyuja heard that Hyun's motive is to unite all of Gangbuk. Gangbuk is currently a battlefield. The four most powerful high schools are expanding their scope of influence. Hajin wasn't interested in unification, but Hyun feels differently. Together with Sehyun, he wants to unite all of Gangbuk. Sehyun finds this ridiculous and regrets getting mixed up with Hyun. Sehyun gets a new quest to complete. He has to win over the first years of Gangbuk. Sehyun calls Hyun back and tells him that he was kidding, and from this moment on, Sehyun will be taking over West Gangbuk High. The first years are overjoyed. In class, Sehyun is shivering. He worries that things will get worse and new fights will erupt. He looks up at his platinum card and wonders how to use it. Karen arrives and asks Sehyun what he's up to. She heard rumors going around the school. Sehyun starts staring at Karen, and she's taken aback. She asks Sehyun what he's looking at, and he says, Pikachu, while staring. Sehyun can see Karen's stats because of the card Pikachu. Not what he hoped for, but it's still pretty cool. Her stats are lower than he expected. He thought that Karen would be a better fighter. Sehyun decides to use it on himself and looks at his stats. Karen slaps him right across the face with all her force. Sehyun realizes that he might lose to her in a fight. Sehyun understands what the rest of the stats are, but what does potential mean? He's confused and thinks that it may refer to someone's hidden potential in a fight. Sehyun and Kyuja have high protocol from their juniors. Some students murmur that Sehyun will eviscerate anyone who gets too close. Sehyun is handed a bloody envelope with money inside it by Hyun, and he is shocked. It's the money he collected from the first years. Kyuja tries to take the money, but Sehyun demands it to be given back to the bullies. Sehyun looks at Hyun's stats and realizes that he's a total thug. Sehyun is told that he needs to attend his inauguration as the new leader of West Gangbuk High. Sehyun doesn't want to, but he has to complete his quest, so he tearfully accepts. The inauguration ceremony is completed, so Hyun starts the briefing. He explains to Sehyun that Gangbuk is a war zone and is in a war because Johan Seong, who had previously united all of Gangbuk, gave it all up. And without a leader in place, a war broke out. The first ones are East Gangbuk High, and they're just reckless. The next is the South Gangbuk High, who are the opposite. They are model students. Sehyun proposes a bright idea. The other schools should just take over. Kyuja is dumbfounded at his friend's stupidity. Hyun also tells Sehyun that rumors about him have already spread, calling him Tank Top Sehyun, the man who wears his tank top crisscrossed as he strikes down his enemies. Sehyun asks who spread these rumors, and Hyun is the culprit. Sehyun cuts ties with the top dog and leaves. Hyun urges him to attend the upcoming Gangbuk conference, but Sehyun rejects. At home, Daeyeon asks her brother what he's been doing at school, as she's being called the little sister of Tank Top Sehyun. East Gangbuk top dog, is told that Hajin-gu has been defeated, and there's a new top dog. Seok, top dog of South Gangbuk, is also told the same thing. Hyun is wondering what to do since Sehyun doesn't want to attend the upcoming conference when suddenly he gets a call from the top dog himself. He wants to attend the conference because of his new quest. Sehyun is going to get rewarded 11 cards, so he has to go no matter what. Hyun is going to make the necessary preparations, and Sehyun tells him not to. Sehun is having fun using his peak card on anyone he desires. It's fun seeing other people's stats. He wonders why people feel grossed out when he checks their stats since the card is called Peek at You. It could be that the people he peeks at may feel embarrassed. Sehun wonders if it's really okay for him to use this card. What's even stranger is that this ability he is using can also be leveled up, which means Sehun can rank this skill up like the jab. It looks like Sehun gets 1 XP point for every 2 people he peeks at. He wonders if he is able to see more of his rank if this skill goes up to E. If that's the case, he really shouldn't be peeking at anyone. Sehun checks Kyuja's stats, and his potential is crazy. Sehun heads to the conference with Kyuja. He really hopes nothing goes down at the conference. Those guys are gonna be scary, so Sehun doesn't want to piss them off. Sehun is shocked to see a ton of men in black suits in front of him. The Gangbuk conference is where the leader of each high school in the Gangbuk district gathers, so Hyun readied his people in case anything goes down. Sehun tells the men to go home, and it will be only Kyuja, him, and Hyun that will go to the conference. A man has been beat up by Iha. Iha asks the men which gang they are from and tells them to pay for the booze they drank. Another man tries to stop Iha but gets kicked in the face. Iha is told that he needs to attend the conference. Sehun is taken aback seeing the conference meetup place. It's an old building that stopped construction and became a sketchy area. The conference has always been held here. It looks super shady, and you could probably kill someone without anyone knowing. Sehun knows that this place is crawling with terrifying people. He wonders if he will get beat up as soon as he walks in. Sehun is met by 3 kind-looking men. The leader introduces himself as Seok Kang from the South Gangbuk High. Sehun finds Seok's name cool because it sounds like suck. Sehun finds Seok kind, but Hyun tells him to beware as he might be the most dangerous top dog in all of Gangbuk. Seok has misunderstood Sehun and thinks that he was making fun of his name. The quest still hasn't been completed, so Sehun waits. The curtains rip open, and it's Iha, who doesn't seem too happy to be here. Sehun's quest is complete, and he decides to head home. Iha holds onto Sehun's throat and asks him where he's going. Iha tries to provoke a fight. A quest will pop up telling him to defeat Iha. Since this has already happened with Hanjin, Sehun doesn't want to fight with Iha, so in order to prevent such a quest from appearing, Sehun will do nothing. Not only did Iha provoke Sehun, Sehun isn't afraid of Iha at all in the eyes of the others. Seok is asked what the blank and unfocused expression is on Sehun's face. The others think that Sehun is looking for Iha's weak points. Seok believes so as well and guesses that the rumors about Sehun were true. Tank Top Sehun of West Gangbuk is so ruthless he'd even take your family members as hostages to get what he wants. For him to face off against Iha, at best, this fight will end in a tie. Seok doesn't want to waste this opportunity. After the fight between Sehun and Iha wears them out, Seok will attack them both. Meanwhile, Sehun is zoned out. Iha is pissed since this is the first time someone has provoked him like this. The quest hasn't appeared yet, but at this rate, Sehun will end up fighting Iha anyway. Iha is told to stop, but he's told that Seok is here and he will take advantage of the situation. Iha is told to calm down as he will have other chances to face off against Sehun Kim. Iha decides to release Sehun from his grasp and tells him to forget it. Sehun decides to use his ability peak, but he can't since his level isn't high enough to do so. Sehun slept after he got home, but he's been so tired and worried about it. More importantly, he can't believe the peak card failed. Sehun realizes that there are limitations to the card since he can't just peek at anyone. He also realizes that the 2 of them must be stronger than he is. Sehun is met by Hyun and his lackeys who greet him and ask about the rumors going around. Sehun defeated Iha before he could even think and Seok could intervene. Sehun asks who spread this rumor as it wasn't true. At the nurse's office, Sehun lays on the bed tired, and his body aches as he has a fever. Sehun uses this moment to look through the new cards he has been rewarded with. He got 1 gold card and 10 bronze. He claims the gold card and sees that it allows him to combine or disassemble cards in order to receive cards of higher or lower rank. Sehun also claims his bronze cards. He mixes and matches the cards to each other, creating ultimate ones. He receives a silver card by combining 2 bronze cards. He can now straight punch. Sehun is getting a strange thrill from this and decides to just do 4 cards. Sehun goes all in and uses his cards to create something amazing and receives a gold card which will make something good happen when Sehun receives a hit. Sehun lifts his hand up and slaps himself to feel something, and it hurts, obviously. Sehun wonders if it's because he hit himself or something. The card's called Master Please, so he thought it would let him assert dominance over people or something. But instead, it will reward him whenever other people assert dominance over him. Sehun likes it better this way. The main quest is now available, and it's high time for a new one. He needs more cards so he can combine them. Sehun has to recruit crew members. He wonders why he has to recruit members for some crew. Does the system want him to defeat a final boss or something? He recruits the first member, who's obviously Kyuja. Later that day in the park, he meets someone unexpected. It's Karen. They both live in the same neighborhood, and they just found out. Sehyun has a weird favor to ask of Karen. He asks her to slap him in the face, and there's something he needs to check. Karen gets embarrassed when Sehyun tells her that something good will happen to him when she hits him. As Sehyun is about to get hit, the thugs who he defeated earlier arrive. They are here to take revenge for their brother Sangcheol's untimely death. Sehyun wonders why he has to run into these NPCs again and thinks if they are zombies in a game and keep respawning. He asks them if Sangcheol is actually dead, but he stands with the thugs and randomly tells his MBTI to the others. A side quest is given to Sehyun. It's to defeat the thugs again. This quest should be easy to complete, so Sehyun is confident. Sehyun wonders who the thug boss is and thinks it's Sangcheol, but he's proven wrong as his older brother comes. Sehyun uses his ability peak, and the brothers' stats are incredible. Karen steps in and asks the men which school they go to. Sehyun gets punched in the core by the brother, but weirdly, Sehyun feels great. Karen writes this off as a masochist, but Sangcheol tells him to stop. As Sehyun receives one blow after another, he feels great. Sehyun's one stat randomly increases. He punches Sangcheol in the face, and his strength has increased from rank 2 to C. Sehyun confesses to Karen that he feels good whenever he gets hit. Sehyun crosses his tank top and gets ready to start the side quest. The thugs lunge at Sehyun, and there are too many. Last time, he had an advantage because he was in a narrow alley. Sehyun lands a jab and wants to make a run for it but stops when he realizes that one of the thugs has his back on the ground and is unconscious. Sehyun decides to just beat the thugs up and tells Karen to close her eyes as a girl like her shouldn't have to witness such violence. Karen tells Sehyun to shut the hell up as this is the cringiest thing she's ever heard. The brother finds the situation interesting and tells Sehyun that his attacks weren't bad. Sehyun punches the brother in his face, but he takes no damage as Sehyun's strength suddenly decreases from C to E. Sehyun wonders if it's because he hasn't been hit for a while. This may be a counter back down to 4 hits. So Sehyun's strength has gone back down because he hasn't received 5 hits. Sehyun wonders why his stat increase was so short-lived. Sehyun gets hit again and endures, but his card isn't triggering. Sehyun asks for a timeout from the brother. Since he had it triggered earlier, he doesn't know what's going on now. He thinks if there is a special requirement, he needs to trigger the effect. The brother tells Sehyun that time waits for no man as he makes his way towards him. Karen steps in and tells the brother to stop. Sehyun doesn't want Karen to get hurt, so he has to hold up. The system notifies Sehyun that he has recovered 5 hits. Now that Sehyun is charged, he hits the brother across his face. Sehyun's strength dramatically increases as he beats up the brother. Sehyun confesses that he figured out how he was able to stack up 5 hits. His desire to protect Karen wasn't the reason. It was the shame he felt about getting beat up in front of a girl. Sehyun eats a healing bean and realizes that the effect doesn't trigger whenever he gets beat up. He needs to get beat up and feel ashamed to meet the card's requirements and trigger the stat increase, so that's why the card is called Master Please. Sehyun is told that his boxing is held decent and is asked if he knows the name the Boulder Park. The brother attempts to tackle Sehyun, but he can't since Sehyun is using the max capacity card. Sehyun lands a blow on the brother, and currently, his punches are a rank. After finishing his opponent up, he wonders what his cards will be this time. The next day at school, he thinks that quests are fun, but why is he getting these quests anyway? They are getting assigned according to what he does. Sehyun wonders if there's someone who is assigning them to him. Sehyun gets slapped in the face, and he doesn't get pissed but instead asks for another slap across his face. Karen seems to be very angry, and when asked why, she tells Sehyun that there is a rumor that she and he are dating. Sehyun tries to clear up that there is nothing going on between them other than the indirect kiss with the milk bottle. Hyun arrives at the scene with a bouquet. He asks Karen if she fell in love with Sehyun after he heroically saved her from thugs. Karen completely denies everything. Meanwhile, an old face, Hajun, is coming back to school. The brother faces Ye and tells him that the rumors about Sehyun are true. Ye heads to meet Sehyun, the top dog. Meanwhile, the top dog is busy looking at his card, to the moon, and wonders if he should try using it. Disong, an underling, asks Ye if he should take care of Sehyun as he is not worthy enough to be faced off by Ye himself. Ye asks Disong if he can manage it since Sehyun defeated Hajun-gu. Disong tells Ye to trust Disong's gut, and he is ordered to get Sehyun. Sehyun thinks about his card. It doesn't seem like such a great card, although it might come in handy from time to time. He thinks to disable this card with his card master but decides otherwise. More importantly, he has to complete the quest of recruiting members. He decides to find people with good stats. Sehyun's slipper creaks and he looks down to take a look at it. He ends up in an awkward position with Karen, who slaps him across the face again. Karen threatens to call the cops, and Sehyun pleads with her to not. Suddenly, a shiver goes down his spine. Someone looms over him. It's Hajun. Sehyun creates a distance and tells Hajun that he hasn't seen him in a while and asks if he wants to grab breakfast. Hajun continues to ignore Sehyun. Sehun gets a quest. He has to recruit Hajin into his crew. Sehun can't recruit someone he fought against. He may end up in a fight again with Hajin, and he can't win another time. Sehun decides to give up on this side quest since it's only offering 1 silver card as a reward. Sehun decides to try and complete. He blatantly asks Hajin if he wants to join his crew but gets ignored. Fortunately, nothing happens. Sehun couldn't even take a nap during recess because he was scared Hajin would beat him up. Sehun is told some bad news. Hyun has been taken down by some thugs of East Gangbuk. Sehun proposes a simple idea. He tells them to call the police and handle it themselves. Sehun leaves and doesn't want to go since Ye is the top dog of East Gangbuk. If there was a quest, it might be a different story, but Sehun didn't even get a quest, so there's no need for him to get involved. Meanwhile, Hyun is getting ridiculed and beaten up. Hyun says that he will have no other master than Sehun after he is told that he follows every top dog. Disong gives a metal pipe to Hyun for him to beat him up with. Hyun uses all his might to attack, but Disong is unfazed. As Hyun is about to get beaten up with the metal pipe, Sehun intervenes. He throws a punch at one of the lackeys. He peeks at the other's stats and thinks that there is no way he can defeat Disong. Sehun is asked if he's ready to get his ass beat by his junior. He's busy comparing himself to Disong and thinks about his size difference. There's too much difference. He thinks to attack Disong's face. Disong wants to fight one-on-one and tells his lackeys to step aside. Sehun attacks Disong, but he receives no damage because his huge belly is absorbing it. Disong lands a blow onto Sehun's core and calls him weak. Sehun gets up confidently and tries to use his max capacity card but fails to do so as he can only use it 1 time a day and he has already used it once. Sehun gets slammed onto the ground and everyone calls him weak. Disong can't believe that Sehun is the top dog since defeating him was too easy. As Disong is about to take his leave and leave the rest for his lackeys, an unexpected person arrives. It's Hajin. Hajin asks Sehun why he invited him into his crew, and Sehun's response is that he found Hajin reliable to be with. Hajin declares that he will take the lackeys and will also join Sehun's crew, which takes him by surprise. Hajin gets ready to fight in his tank top. He restores his stamina and receives a few blows to activate his card before he obliterates Disong. Sehun jumps in the air and backkicks Disong, causing him to fall on the ground, unresponsive. Everyone watches this unfold and is shocked beyond comprehension. Sehun gets 2 rewards, but he has to choose between the 2 of them and get one. Sehun heads back home and is tired. He ended up fighting again. He feels pain all over his body and decides to go to his room and rest. Sehun is taken by surprise seeing his younger sister dancing. He would pay anything to unsee that. When Dahyun tries to reason with him, he says that he doesn't care and calls her a moron. Sehun thinks of which card to choose. The first one is an eye for cards. Knowing what card he will be getting next will come in handy. The second one is Fateful Meeting, a challenger card which is the highest ranking. Sehun decides to push the choosing for tomorrow and sleep because he's tired. At East Gangbuk High, after being defeated, Disong is met by Ye who beats him on arrival. Meanwhile, Sehun thanks Hajin for yesterday. Things were going badly until Hajin showed up. Sehun asks Hajin why he came to save him and rambles on. Hajin, who is currently in the bathroom, asks Sehun if this is the appropriate time to be told all of this. Sehun thanks Hajin for joining his crew, but Hajin tells him not to flatter himself since he's just sticking around for a little while to see where he goes from here. Sehun asks questions about Iha, and Hajin's response is simple: stay away from him. People who don't know Iha think he's a common thug. But they're wrong. Iha, unlike his appearance, is very intellectual. Back with Disong, he hasn't gotten beaten up yet, but he's asked about Sehun instead, the way he talks, his acts, habits, strengths, what to watch out for, and his techniques. Iha is told that Sehun was close to being knocked out, but he made a sudden recovery and threw a fancy kick out of nowhere. Iha realizes that Sehun must be that too. Sehun is congratulated on winning against Disong, and the briefing happens. Hyun tells Sehun that his nickname has been changed from Tank Top Sehun to the Cannibal. He got the name from practically devouring Disong in battle. Sehun doesn't pay attention to the brief and gets lost in his own thoughts. He makes the decisions with this golden card. He selects the Fateful Meeting card, and suddenly everyone disappears. Sehun dashes out to see where everyone has gone and sees nobody. As he heads outside, he sees a gate. Sehun is welcomed by a challenger card. Sehun asks the card who is giving him these quests and why he's getting them. Sehun hears a human voice. He realizes questions about the purpose of receiving the quests, and the questions remain unanswered as the card tells him that his meeting is premature. In order to prove himself, Sehun will have to unite Gangbuk in order to receive the other cards as well and see what the future holds. Sehun snaps back to reality, and his underlings thought he died for a minute. Sehun tells Hyun that he is interested in uniting Gangbuk. Hyun will passionately make sure that this message is reached by the other high schools in Gangbuk. Sehun has to grind the peek at you skill. He's peaked at pretty much everyone in school. Sehun has ranked up to E, and he sees Karen. He can even see her weight, height, etc. Sehun needs more attack cards since Iha is really scary. Sehun decides that until he gets stronger, he will have to avoid Iha. God is not with him today because right before him stands Iha Han. Before he can even say something, Iha lands a blow onto Sehun's core. Sehun uses his peeking skill to check Iha's stats and is shocked to see that 2 of his stats are S rank and the rest are N+. Sehun is totally outmatched, and he's already used the healing beam. He thinks about what to do next. Sehun gets a quest to fight and defeat Iha. There is no way he can do this, and he doesn't want to lose the plat card either, so he tries to reason with Iha. He tells him that there is no one here to witness the fight between the duo, and he wants to set another date to fight with him. Iha agrees and sets off, but Sehun has another plan in mind. He tries to back kick Iha midair but is kicked in the core instead. Iha confesses that he never lets his guard down and beats Sehun up. Upon getting defeated, Sehun receives a hidden achievement, a diamond card, as a reward. Sehun wakes up to Hyun beside him. When asked where he is told that he's in school. Hyun found Sehun in an alley and brought him to school. He heard that Sehun fought Iha. Sehun finds it strange that he was able to defeat Disong but not Iha since their stats are too different. Hajin tells Sehun that he got lucky and should be thankful Iha didn't go any further than he did. Sehun is thankful that Hajin is worried for him. Sehun also takes this moment to peek at Hajin's stats. His strength is S rank too. The two of them are almost on the same level. Sehun wonders how he beat Hajin and thinks that he must have gone easy on him or something. Sehun asks Hajin why he is helping him out. Sehun feels like Hajin was going easy on him while they were fighting, and Hajin even agreed to join Sehun's crew. Sehun asks if there is any particular reason for his actions. Hajin replies that he's never seen someone like Sehun before, so he's a little intrigued. He continues to tell Sehun to not get his hopes up before leaving. Sehun finds Hajin to be the weird one. Sehun looks at the diamond card he received from his hidden side quest. He claims the card, and it's a copy cloud. Sehun is warned to open it in a safe location. Meanwhile, Iha is asked about his encounter with Sehun. Iha tells his underling that Sehun was weaker than he thought and that West Gangbuk is now theirs. He commands his underling, Doyok, to round the boys and wrap things up with West Gangbuk. Doyok is told to take Jin with him. For now, Iha will see things through with Sok Kang and the South Gangbuk High. At Sehun's home, Daehyun begs him to not come out of his room while her friends are over. Sehun heads to his room and opens his card. Daehyun calls her friends inside her home, and they make fun of her, calling her the Blade of Frost. Meanwhile, Sehun is shocked seeing the cloud in his room. He asks it what it is, and the system tells Sehun that the copy cloud can copy a surrounding object, and once the mode has been activated, it will automatically copy a surrounding object. Daehyun walks in, and the cloud starts copying her. Daehyun feels something wrapping around her, and she ultimately blames it on her house being haunted. Daehyun tells this to her friends, but they don't believe her. Inside of Sehun's room, there stands a copy of his sister. He wonders if others can see her too. Sehun definitely doesn't want to be caught. His copied sister slaps him once and returns to the diamond card. Sehun wonders what he will do with this unique card. At school, Sehun sulks as he finally managed to get a diamond card, but all it does is copy and paste things. He wonders why it's a diamond card anyway and what he's supposed to get out of copying a person. Having two sisters would just annoy him twice as much. Sehun was so happy to be rewarded a diamond card. He can't believe it ended up being so useless. Hyun jump scares Sehun, and he suggests Hyun get an eyebrow tattoo. Hyun is here for more sinister reasons. He has some bad news to share. East Gangbuk High is making their move. Iha has sent a group of his people to take over West Gangbuk High. The leader of the group is Jin Park, ranked 5th in East Gangbuk High. He is infamous around these parts and is an incredibly strong fighter. The vice leader is Doyok, who is ranked 13th. He is stronger than Disong, who is ranked at 14th, and the two lackeys accompanying them are fairly seasoned themselves. Currently, Hyun doesn't have anyone at West Gangbuk capable of facing off against these guys. If they are to fight that group in their current state, there is 0% chance of Sehun's school defeating them. Sehun wonders what to do in this situation. People stronger than Disong. Sehun only beat Disong because he got lucky. He wonders how he will be able to beat the other guys up. Even the beating won't solve the problem. If Iha shows up again, Sehun is screwed. Sehun looks at the only attack cards he has and thinks of ways to get more attack cards in a short period of time. He wonders if he will be able to get one if he finds Sangcheol and his thug buddies at the park they had an altercation. But Sehun has no idea when they will show up again. And even if Sehun does find them, there's no guarantee that it will result in another side quest. Sehun clenches his hair and is fighting against time. There's no way he can become stronger in the little time he has left. Hajin asks Sehun what he is doing in the smoking area since he doesn't smoke. Sehun asks a favor from Hajin, but before he can even state what it is, Hajin says no. Sehun also plays hard to get and retracts his statement. Dohyuk meets Jin, who is currently in his dirty apartment with other drug addicts. Jin says he was messing around a bit and tried mixing a few things, but he wasn't able to make decent money off of what he sold. Jin decides that he will head to fight the top dog right now. Sehun is face to face with Hajin, who is teaching him how to fight. But it's not Hajin that's fighting, it's the copy Cloud. Sehun felt hopeless when Hajin said no to helping him, but he doesn't need him to help him anyway, he can just copy him instead. Right now, Hajin is a training dummy Sehun can use to level up his skill. Sehun's level significantly increases, and his straight punch level is now at rank D. At Gangbuk Girls High School, the girls talk about their interests while making their way to school. Spontaneously, Dohyuk and his lackey stare at the girls as they await Jin's arrival. But before they can go fight Sehun and the others, the bullies make up a sinister plan. Hyun notices that Sehun is looking imposing and is exuding an aura of self-confidence. Sehun is asked if he's been training or something. Sehun responds that he hasn't been training but wants to smash a telephone pole for no reason. Hyun looks up to Sehun for not even being fazed by the threat of being electrocuted. Suddenly, a man arrives. He's West Gangbuk's official messenger. He just got word that a group from the east is in the area. He also heard that they are harassing some students. Sehun tells them to call the police as the east may be holding hostages. Hyun finds his liege decision wise. After learning that the students being harassed are from Gangbuk Girls High School, famed for having a student body composed of only the most beautiful girls in Gangbuk, the trio gets ready to fight. But they are met by an unforeseen circumstance. They are now face to face with the fattest guy in the east, Diesel. Sehun tells the others to protect the girls of the school while he will face Deong-sok himself. Deong-sok asks Sehun if he's sure about fighting against him by himself since now that Deong-sok is used to Sehun's attacks, he is in prime condition to fight. The girls are being cornered, and Hyun arrives at the right time. He underestimated how many people there would be and gets in stance to fight. Suddenly, the opponents stop moving. A shiver goes down their spine as they see Kyuja, rumored to have faced off against Sehun in an epic battle for 3 days and 3 nights. The newbie fighter who took the West by storm, and they call him the Lieutenant. It's Kyuja, otherwise known as El Diablo. Kyuja walks up with great confidence and even puts his hands in his pockets to assert dominance. He signifies that he doesn't even need to use his hands in order to defeat the weaklings he is facing. As the lackeys are about to attack Kyuja, the goat arrives. Sehun is here. He had to swat a pesky fly on his way here. The lackeys attack Sehun altogether and get obliterated within a moment. Sehun declares that he isn't interested in fighting Small Fry and wants to face Yeha as he licks his bloodied fist. Sehun wants to face Yeha and not the Small Fry. He continues to obliterate all who stand against him. Finally, he faces off against Dohyuk. Earlier, Dohyuk was told by Disong that if he were to meet Sehun again, he would win, no doubt. He also reassured Dohyuk that no matter how much he let his guard down, there's no way Sehun would be able to win against him. Back to the present, Sehun proves to be otherwise and is definitely not weak as he does a spinning back kick onto Dohyuk's face. Sehun uses the moon card in max capacity to smash Dohyuk's face. After delivering his critical blow, Sehun admits that he doesn't like resorting to violence in front of the lady. 2 of the ladies are quite surprised and cringed out, but one of them, Soha, is quite intrigued by Sehun. Soha asks Sehun his number despite the rumors surrounding him. Dohyuk tells him to enjoy himself while he can since his days are numbered. When asked what that means, Dohyuk confesses that Jin Park, the 5th strongest fighter of East Gangbuk, will be arriving soon after he defeats Hajin. Meanwhile, Hajin is busy working out and is told by Jin that he's been sent to wipe the floor with Hajin. And after that, he's gonna crush Sehun. Suddenly, Jin lays on the ground as he gets his head whammed in by Hajin himself. Hajin tells Jin to convey a message for him to Yeha that Sehun's crew is coming. Soha is in her room reading a book and is being told by her mom to not stay up too late. Soha pretends to be reading an informational book, but instead, she seems to be into something else. At home, Sehun is happy that he managed to beat 2 people from the east. At this rate, he might even be able to beat Yeha. But what about his lackeys? They move as a big group. Sehun wonders if he will be able to handle all of them on his own since he's only managed to beat their 13th strongest so far. He can't win against all of them at once if he's by himself. He needs more people on his side as well. But before that, Sehun thinks to complete his recruitment quest. He wonders who to recruit as the last member of the crew and comes up with an intelligent plan to recruit the copied version of his kid sister. The crew is now complete, and Sehun receives a golden card, which allows him to level up the members of his crew. Sehun can level up his crew members. The system tells Sehun that he can only level up crew members by using the level up cards. and he can receive the cards by completing level up quests. Sehyun decides to find out once he gets a level up quest. He feels like they will be easier than the side quests. Sehyun claims the card he got from defeating Dohyuk, and it involves boxing. He is now able to weave, and Sehyun finds it fun. He spontaneously gets a side quest. He has to complete a boxing combination. All Sehyun needs to do is complete the quest using the hook attack card. It's too much of a gamble, but it's been a while since Sehyun has used it. He uses the master card and decides to organize his cards while he's at it. Come to think of it, Sehyun has never disabled a card. He wants to do it since he has lots of silver cards, a decision Sehyun will soon regret. Sehyun and Kyuja are congratulated on demonstrating their true might to the wretched of the East. Kyuja tells the underlings to ensure that he doesn't have to stoop to getting his hands dirty. When asked why they are being congratulated by Sehyun, Hyun explains that because Sehyun beat Dohyuk, the territory that was under his supervision is now ours, and those schools are now under their authority. Sehyun asks if Hyun will come running to reclaim his land, but Hyun explains that they should have some breathing room for now. When asked why, he explains that he got in touch with South Gangbuk High. Switching scenes to Ia, he is being told that 2 of his underlings have lost the schools under Dohyuk's management, which have been turned over to the West. Ia decides to head over to reclaim the land, but gets occupied with something else as he gets told that the South is making moves. Seok found out about Sehyun's underlings looking to Sehyun and is trying to start a war. Ia commands his second to be sent to the West and tells him not to fight and just keep them in check. Sehyun is weak anyway. Ia believes that he can defeat Sehyun whenever, but before that, he's going to crush Seok. Back to Sehyun. He is told about what has happened, but he's still not strong enough to win against Ia. While he's busy with the South, Sehyun will train and complete quests to get stronger. Hyun suggests Sehyun focus on strengthening his position within West Gangbuk, but that Hyun means they need to recruit more crew members, but he is referring to something else. Sehyun recently expanded his territory, and there are certain problems that arose as a result. The 3 high schools that Dohyuk oversaw are now under Sehyun's governance, but it is uncertain whether the students there will be supportive of Sehyun, which means they could revolt at any moment. Sehyun is asked if he wants to visit those schools in person and show them who's the boss. Sehyun gets a quest. He has to assert his dominance. Sehyun decides to get through with this immediately in order to be able to train his crew immediately. Sehyun is met by an unexpected person, a friend of his little sister and the girl he saved, Soha. She is flustered and asks him why he hasn't responded to her texts. Sehyun says that he will reply and says goodbye. Karen, who oversees this, doesn't seem to be too happy about it. At Seojin High School, the students wonder who they will follow now that Dohyuk got defeated. The students think that it would be better to join Sehyun, but the top dog of Seojin High, Jinsu, thinks otherwise. He will make the others stick with Ia till the end. An unexpected guest arrives. It's the top dog Sehyun. He asks the boys why their hangout is so high up in the mountains and asks them if they are bears or something. Sehyun gets attacked immediately, but he uses his new skill weaving to dodge the attack. Sehyun throws a hook and obliterates his opponent. Sehyun says a cringy line and defeats the top dog with great ease. Sehyun has successfully asserted his dominance over Seojin High School. Sehyun wants to head to the next school, and Hyun receives major gangster vibes from his boss. Later, the students from Dongin High express they had been suffering under the tyranny of East Gangbuk High, so they're happy that they're gone. Next is Jogging Tech, and they are also happy to be under West Gangbuk's rule. Sehyun also tells them they do not expect any money from them. Sehyun's quest has been completed, and he gets 4 cards to level up his crew in a bathroom. Sehyun looks through his cards, but he can't decide who to use them on. He wonders if he should make Hajin really strong, but will he be able to rein him in if necessary? Sehyun contemplates using all the cards on Hyun, but something about that idea doesn't appeal to Sehyun. Sehyun wonders if he should just use them on Kyuja instead since he's the weakest member of his crew. Sehyun wonders if he should get Kyuja into fighting in the first place. It will break his heart to see Kyuja get hurt. Still, Sehyun is sure that Kyuja will end up having to fight someday because of his association with Sehyun. Sehyun will at least give Kyuja the skills to be able to defend himself, and so Sehyun has decided that all level-up cards will be applied to Kyuja. Sehyun asks Hyun about the top dog of North Gangbuk, but there is insufficient information about him. He is only rumored to be extraordinarily strong. Sehyun finds this weird, but he brushes it off and heads to class with Kyuja. Hyun thinks that now that the things are settled with the territory they've acquired, Sehyun shouldn't have to keep handling matters like this directly. Hyun comes up with the conclusion that West will eventually expand their influence in Gangbuk. There is still no way Sehyun will be able to directly oversee such a wide expanse of territory all by himself. Sehyun can no longer afford to devote his time to what's going on within West Gangbuk. Hyun thinks of someone who is detail-oriented, and usually it's women who are like that. The West needs someone to focus on strengthening their position from within, but who would be willing to take over such a task? Hyun realizes that the person fit for this job is Karen, and he wants to forge a union between the two as the West's rulers, and they will usher in an age of peace and prosperity for Gangbuk. Hyun invites the duo to a pool party at a resort in Gangbuk to strengthen their bonds of friendship. Karen slaps Hyun across his face and tells him to stop acting like her friend. Hyun thought that Karen would be happy to go since resorts have been famous on Insta lately. Later, Karen's friends get invited to the resort and they pressure Karen into going as well, and she reluctantly agrees. The group of men consists of Kyuja, Hajun, Hyun and Sehyun. Meanwhile, Seok is told of the West's movement and he learns that they are currently staying at a resort which is north of Gangbuk's territory. At the resort, the women head to unpack, and some sinister people watch as they do so. The people are sure that the people staying here are from the West, and they decide to mess with them. Karen wears her bathing suit but is angry that her friends didn't bring any along, and she has to be the only one who has to wear it. She heads to change, and the boys later ask her to re-wear it, but she gets angry instead. Sehyun says that they weren't interested anyway since it's not like they only want to see Karen in a bikini. Sehyun, without leaving a breath, tells the others it's time to head home. After they finish eating, Hyun cleans up and Hajun goes for a run. Karen is bored and contemplates going home early. They make fun of her, telling her that she was the one who was most excited for the trip. The group decides to play games to kill time. 5 minutes later, Karen is full of anger because of Sehyun's continuous cheating. Hyun decides on a follow-up game. Sehyun and Karen have to hold hands and sit inside a closet. Whoever comes out first loses and has to shave their eyebrows. The duo is against this idea, but if they refuse to go inside the closet, they will both have to shave their eyebrows. The duo decides to head inside the closet while holding hands, and Kyuja finds this amusing. Sehyun is finally becoming a man, and Kyuja is jealous. Suddenly, a man comes behind him. It's the people from the North Territory. Meanwhile, in the closet, the duo's hands are getting sweaty, and Sehyun remembers a post about this. Suddenly, he receives a quest. Karen is confused by the look on Sehyun's face. She asks him what's wrong. The quest is to lose to Karen, and the reward isn't bad either. Sehyun looks at Karen, who looks like she is sick and is drenched in sweat. After asking if she's sick, Karen responds that she isn't. She wants to let go of our protagonist's hand, but he refuses to let go as he has to abide by the rules no matter what. Sehyun asks Karen if she's actually sick, but she reveals that she isn't fond of enclosed spaces because she was bullied when she was younger. Sehyun doesn't believe it and calls Cap. Karen confesses that in middle school, a bunch of kids bullied her for having a resting bitch face, and the only reason she was bullied was because of her face. When she ignored them, it became a cool thing for everyone to bully Karen, and one day, they trapped her in the janitor's office and went home. The bullying got worse when she started showing fear, and ever since then, she can't stay in enclosed or small dark places for long. Karen regrets telling Sehyun all this. She didn't think they would have to stay in here for this long. She regrets agreeing to play this game. Sehyun realizes that the reason Karen helped her back then was because she was reminded of her old self and what she suffered during middle school. Sehyun says that he will head out first and says that he didn't know something so traumatic happened to her. He tells Karen that she should have let him know earlier if she was struggling. As Sehyun is about to leave, he realizes that he has been barricaded from the outside. The handles have been locked shut with a broom. Sehyun yells at the others to open the door, but it seems everyone has left. Karen starts crying, so Sehyun decides to use max capacity to break open the closet door. Karen's friends cry as they apologize to Karen for their ignorance. Meanwhile, Sehyun has his eyebrows shaved. He certainly doesn't look the best without his eyebrows. Hyun bursts in with bad news. Kyuja has been dragged away by 3 thugs, and they look like they are from the north. Sehyun tells Hyun not to worry as Kyuja is no longer the weak Kyuja everyone knew. The northern bullies mess with Kyuja, and Kyuja thinks about what his best friend told him. Kyuja skillfully defeats his opponents. Kyuja feels as if his body suddenly began moving on its own, and he thinks he did something really cool just now. Kyuja uses his great vocabulary to instill fear into his opponents before handing their asses to them. Kyuja formally introduces himself to his opponents as Kyuja, El Diablo of West Gangbuk High. Kyuja easily defeats the opponents in front of him one by one, swiftly and with beauty. Hyun is shocked that Kyuja took all the bullies down by himself. He finds it absolutely incredible and exhilarating. Kyuja admits that he did not wish to resort to violence, but his opponents forced his hands. Had he not fought back, he could have put the group he is in within danger. Sehyun was feeling bad that he was the only one who was leveling up, so he's happy his dear friend is also a bit stronger now. Karen and the girls kick out the boys from their room as it's time for them to get their beauty sleep. Sehyun notices that something feels off since it's very quiet. This place is under the north, so Sehyun thought he might end up fighting some of their people, but the guys Kyuja beat aren't a part of North Gangbuk's main crew. Sehyun wonders where Hajin is so late. Meanwhile, Hajin is meeting the top dog of the north and asking him to stay away from his buddies who are just here to have fun. Sehyun is back home, and his mother and sister ask how the resort was, and Sehyun responds it was good. Kyuja returns home and tells his father of his fight. He asks his father what secret lies behind the blood flowing in his veins. He also brings up his doubts about his father being an ordinary white-collar professional. As the father is about to reveal the truth, Kyuja's mom steps in and tells Kyuja, calling him Keiko, to eat dinner. The next day at school, Sehyun is embarrassed because of his eyebrows, and Karen gets into an awkward position to draw them on back for him. In solidarity with their boss, the underlings also shave their brows off. Sehyun receives a quest. He has to choose between 3 options. He decides on where he wants to expand his territory. The district Sehyun wants to attack first is North Gangbuk, but Hyun is stern. If Sehyun's plan is to attack the north, then he is urged to forget it because the people of the north are of a different caliber. Each and every one of them is an absolute beast of a fighter. Realistically, the only place the West could even dare to strike is the Gangbuk Pool Hall, but the leader there is also an incredibly skilled fighter. It would be a problem even if Sehyun managed to beat him, and if the North retaliated by sending their main forces, the West is done for. If Sehyun is thinking of striking the North, Hyun begs him to reconsider. Sehyun decides that the place they will attack next is Yea's territory. The South is also made aware of the situation, but Seok doesn't want to intervene and wants to see how this altercation unfolds. Both the South and East are shocked to hear that the West isn't attacking either of them but attacking the North instead. Sehyun is confident that he will get the leader to join their crew. The reason why Sehyun wants to attack the North is that he will get a platinum card out of it. Sehyun is shocked to see the boss at the pool place is a girl. He is very straightforward. He wants the girl, Haru, to join his crew, but the girl kicks him right in the face and tells him not to underestimate her just because she ranked 39 in the North. Hyun attacks the girl, but she deflects and also reveals that he's a guy. The trio doesn't want to believe that Haru is a man and keep calling him a girl. Sehyun gets serious and throws a back kick that Haru dodges. When asked why he's so adamant on making Haru join his crew, Sehyun reveals that he can see the immense potential she holds. Haru hesitates, his fist poised in the air as he contemplates his next move. With a sudden burst of energy, he lunges forward, aiming to strike Sehyun. However, Sehyun's reflexes are lightning fast. He anticipates Haru's attack and swiftly sidesteps, evading the blow with graceful ease. Sensing an opportunity, Sehyun capitalizes on Haru's momentary vulnerability, channeling his max capacity to seize control of the situation. With a deft maneuver, Sehyun maneuvers behind Haru, expertly leveraging his strength to lift him off the ground. In one fluid motion, he executes a powerful slam, driving Haru forcefully into the unforgiving surface below. The impact reverberates through the air, sending shockwaves rippling across the ground. As Haru slowly regains consciousness, he finds himself in unfamiliar surroundings, blinking away the haze of dizziness. He realizes he's been transported to the halls of West Gangbuk School. Sehyun stands nearby, his gaze unwavering as he approaches Haru with unwavering determination. Undeterred by Haru's initial reluctance, Sehyun remains steadfast in his resolve to recruit him to their cause. Drawing upon his resources, Sehyun presents Haru with an offer he can't refuse, using his card to facilitate his induction into their ranks. Haru, though initially hesitant, eventually acquiesces, swayed by Sehyun's unwavering conviction and the promise of camaraderie. However, Haru's compliance comes with a cost, a lingering concern that threatens to overshadow their victory. He voices his apprehension to Sehyun, expressing fears of reprisal from North Gangbuk once they discover his allegiance. Sehyun listens attentively, acknowledging the gravity of the situation and the potential dangers that lie ahead. The prospect of facing off against North Gangbuk's formidable top dog looms ominously, casting a shadow of uncertainty over their plans. Haru hesitates, unwilling to commit fully until the looming threat is addressed. Sehyun, ever the strategist, reassures him, offering assurances that he has a plan in place to mitigate the risks and safeguard their interests. True to his word, Sehyun takes decisive action, dispatching Haru's clone to the pool club as a diversionary tactic. With the immediate threat temporarily averted, Sehyun shifts his focus to consolidating their gains and fortifying their position. As he claims his rewards, including a valuable shield, Sehyun remains resolute in his determination to chart a course forward. Meanwhile, word of the West's audacious move spreads quickly, sending shockwaves through Gangbuk's volatile landscape. Seok, surprised by the bold show of aggression, struggles to understand what the West's new dominance means. The trio, Sehyun, Kyuja, and Haru, forge ahead, going on a daring mission to seize control of territory held by the South. Their sights set on expanding their influence and solidifying their dominance in Gangbuk's ever-shifting power dynamics.